Make sure that you're printing out your best work on color 1, 2, 3, or 4. You're dry mounting. And you're handing it in to me. Please make sure that you're signing in pencil. Thank you. Why do I love art? I think it taps into a whole other side of one's sensibilities. And I just think of how many connections art makes in my life. My work, my own personal studies, the books I like to read, the people I interact with. Somehow the art touches all of those things. And it also makes me genuinely a very happy human being. Because, you have to go to work for 30 years. You have to get up for something every day. And that's what I kind of tend to get up with. Sometimes kids ask me, or they'll say the statement, "There's nothing to photograph around me." And I always like to have objects and things around me to assist students, like a great big giant toy chest, like the idea of having props around. I found that when I introduced those things into my classroom, not only did I become inspired, but my students became inspired as well. Every day there's something, and I never quite know what it is. I had wonderful art teachers growing up. I had art teachers that allowed us to move at our own rate and pace and explore the things that were of interest and connect and combine the theater, voiceover, collage, painting, all in one space. And I try to let my own students explore and move in their own directions as well. My name is Louise Millman, and I'm an art educator here at Jericho High School. Thank you kindly, and have a great day. What is it? What's today's date? The 12th?
Actually, I think no, it's the 12th.
Oh, it's December 12th, 2014. Welcome.
So who are you and what do you do?
My name is Louise Millman. My name is Louise Millman, and I'm an art educator here at Jericho High School. I teach photography, 1, 2, and 3, AP, 2D, Studio 2D, and St. John's Advanced Photography course.
All right. Why love art? Why do you love art?
Why do I love art? Art was always part of, photography. Let's see, when I was a little kid, I didn't get to go to kindergarten with everybody else because I was born December 23rd. So I had to wait a whole year before I could go to kindergarten. So I was the only kid left on the block. And so in order to keep me busy, my mother gave me paints and crayons, and I took great delight in spending all kinds of time creating. And when I was also a little kid, my grandfather gave me a camera, and I really had a hard time drawing as a little kid. So, but I felt very empowered with a camera in my hand. And again, when I was a little kid, 3rd grade, my teacher opened up a darkroom in the back of the class, and that was it for me. My first roll of film, I developed it, I made photographs, I was the hit of the classroom, and I just sailed on after that, and I've been doing it ever since. This is my 28th year of teaching photography. Of a film. One moment, please. This week. Excuse me. Anyway. You have to have props on. I was thinking about art when I was walking to my car, and I just think of how many connections art makes in my life. My work, my own personal studies, the books I like to read, the people I interact with. Somehow the art touches all of those things. And it also makes me genuinely a very happy human being. Because, you have to go to work for 30 years. You have to get up for something every day. And that's what I kind of tend to get up with. And sometimes the art is art on paper, sometimes it's performance art, sometimes it's the art of gardening, moving the earth, designing gardenscapes, things like that. Every day there's something, and I never quite know what it is.
What is your favorite type of art?
Oh, let's see. Well, in the wintertime, again, it depends. If I have a show coming up, I immerse myself in the studio, more like performance art. And the performance can be in self-portrait collages, the performance can be in film, voiceover. It's really performance-based, I would say.
So do you have a favorite artist? I know that's a hard question.
I do actually, I do. If you're going to ask me who my favorite photographer is, I think I like the work of Julia Margaret Cameron. Julia Margaret Cameron was a photographer in the 1880s, and she was the wife of a rug importer, and she was given a camera by her daughter, and instead of being a polite Victorian woman having women over for tea, she fell in love with the camera, converted her chicken coop into a shooting studio, and she wound up shooting all of her neighbors. Her neighbors included Tennyson the poet, Lewis Carroll, who wrote Alice in Wonderland. She photographed Alice from Alice in Wonderland, Alice Liddell. She wound up putting all of these very prominent writers in costume and illustrating famous books of the time, like Iliad and Tennyson's poems. And she would make these very prominent citizens dress up, stand in the chicken coop, and she would make her guests wait for hours while she developed the plates, and she would come running in with these wet plates and say, "Look what I have." And she was shunned by the Photographic Society because her work was really very sloppy. But now people love it and embrace it, and just students coming in. Hello. Yes, hello.
Last question.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on creativity? Where does it come from? How do you get it?
How do I get it?
You already.
Oh, I really am very observant as to what's going on around me. I think it's important to pull, sometimes kids ask me, there's nothing to, or they'll say the statement, there's nothing to photograph around me. And I always like to have objects and things around me to assist students, like a great big giant toy chest, like the idea of having props around, wigs, costumes, costume pieces. I found that when I introduced those things into my classroom, not only did I become inspired, but my students became inspired as well. I have a very orderly sense of objects and things and costume pieces and things in my own studio. And when I'm done working with them, I actually bring in all of my leftovers from my students so that they get a chance to relive and work within a creative spirit as well. Sometimes, again, given the circumstances, I had wonderful art teachers growing up. I had art teachers that allowed us to move at our own rate and pace and explore the things that were of interest and connect and combine the theater, voiceover, collage, painting, all in one space. And I try to let my own students explore and move in their own directions as well, with guidance, of course. Thank you kindly, and have a great day. Intersecting. Okay, if you look at cubist paintings of instruments, you'll notice that there's different planes and different lines. So you want to flatten that, make sure you introduce lines with the line. All right, let's see, 5. Great. Can you take the individual layers, and since they're all the same, can you make one a little dark, a little lighter, so that you get a sense of distance behind? Dean, how are we doing today? Are you trying to isolate things out?
Isolate things out.
Isolate out the instrument? Are you trying to isolate this instrument?
I'm already isolated.
You can also go to select and similar.
It's already insulated. That's the.
Ah, okay. But if you wanted to select this white, you
It's
just...
already like clear all the white on it.
Okay,
So-
can you paste this again? Can you duplicate this instrument again?
Yes.
You want to know...
Yes, that's exactly, every single one has to connect. Well, no, not all of them, but so just move around as long as they touch, like this side.
Would you thank you for telling me?
You are being recorded right now.
I think we'll.
We're all being
Mr.
recorded.
Silva, please, no.
No idea.
Anybody in the diversity program?
Oh, I didn't send mine in that I had to do it.
I'll send them in.
Well, I don't even know which one we're doing yet.
All right. Yeah, some people, if you want to exchange some of your National Scholastic Art pieces, you can just easily exchange them if you had something better. No, I'll take the photo. Actually, can you put them, you give the filmmaker a camera, still camera, and this is what the filmmaker does with the still camera. The Scholastic Art and Writing Awards are coming up December 17th. We actually had several national winners. I know, somebody gave me, this is a very typical thing people give me. Somebody brought in their mother's greeting cards from when they were a little kid and said, "Oh, would you like to work with these?" I said, "Sure," and didn't quite know what we're going to do with them, but we might scan them, we might turn them into collage. I haven't the slightest idea, but having a small collection of 1940s graphic ephemera, it's kind of interesting. You asked, right. You asked where did we get inspiration from all different places. Oh, you're writing a poem as well, which is great. But ask me if I can find a pen in this class. You see, that's the tough part.
Yes, a lot of work.
Thanks.
My friend Joe's, I can say no stuff. Where's Joe?
Explain what happened. Let's see. This door began about 5 years ago or so. 5 years ago, and it was very hot in here. It was the end of June, and my AP kids were just the last day. They were sending out their big AP portfolios. They were exhausted. We were talking, and one student said something very, very funny, and I said, "You know, you have a great sense of humor." And she said, "Shall I write it on the back of the door?" And I said, "Why not? Write it on the back of the door." So she wrote it on the back of the door, and then all of a sudden, the next day, another student said something very funny, and I said, "Why don't you write that on the back of the door?" And it went over and over and over and over, and so as you can see, this door has been constantly getting filled up, and so and many students come back to visit their quote on the door, and it's to remind them to not take themselves so seriously all the time. Good luck down there. I said, what am I opening up a restaurant? Or, you know, unbelievable. This particular piece, this was a very exciting piece for this, Seyun Yun this piece was hanging in the Heckscher Museum for 2 months last year. It was also hanging in the Marshes department store exhibition. So you never know. Sometimes one day, one period can lead to a work that hangs in a very prominent museum. Oh, this was lovely, the pinhole. You might want to know why I have Courage the Cowardly Dog here. I actually went to school with the creator. His name is John Dilworth, and we shared every single class we took at School of Visual Arts in New York. And he went on to become an Academy Award nominated animator. And he's a very funny guy. He's still making films, but I have this. He gave this to me. And I've done some voiceover work on his cartoon series. So that's how we help each other out. Sometimes artists help each other out with their project.
It's a community, you know.
It's a big community. In fact, I'm still helping my art teacher, her name is Doris Rowe, mount a big exhibition of her work in New York City. So I'm really still excited about seeing her new work. She's, I believe, she's in her late 70s, still making work every day.
It's interesting to see, like when you do study artists, it's the greats. They tend to be friends with each other, not all the time, but they tend to be very supportive of each other in what they're doing,
and that's their circle that they travel.
And that's important.
It's
really important. It's just just as important as studying other art as it is important to create a community and surround yourself in a community.
Every class I have is a community. Every class is a very small community. And granted, we only meet 40 minutes a day. It's 40 minutes a day, every day, for 185 days, 184 days in the year. So if there's issues, they have to be talked about and dealt with right away. It's also important, it also is important that each one of the artists in the room support each other. Because there's nothing worse than being a little kid and having somebody bash your work when you're a little kid, saying, no, that snowman can't have a pointy head. And I kept saying, why? Why can't that snowman have a pointy head? I'm just kidding. How you doing? Where are the tacks? Yeah. In the drawer marked tacks. Oh. It's in the drawer marked tacks, and notice that there is a caution sign. I used to have students that didn't like the cabinetry, so they would ask if they could go out and paint it, and I said, sure. Exhibition we have is our exhibition called Hit Parade. It's to celebrate our music department here at Jericho High School, and this is an image by Karen. Can you come up here, Karen? No, please. Yes. Karen Zhu. There she is. There's the artist. She looks fantastic. Karen has designed this particular announcement for the show. Who else? But she's a little embarrassed. Sorry, Karen. But anyway, so we take, yes, Steve. We take a student's work and we actually make a sign for the show. And then other students have produced works like Gabby Katz, who sits over here. Gabby has produced really nice pieces. And so these are going to be celebrating our music in the school. Nicolette, can you go into the back room and print yours again, the big one, please? Thank you. So, lots going on. We just had our leaf show, our exhibition of fall leaves, which just came down. And these are by Julia Adwar. Julia did this piece, and Rhea did this piece to celebrate the change in seasons around the school. These were all taken right around the school. This is Sydney Bouvet's. Beautiful. And Gabby Katz. Whose was this? This is Jake Kupani. Whose was this? Isabel? Jackie, this was yours, right? Okay, Jackie Sands.
Yeah, Gabby was in my video class. She dropped for the first week. It was too hard. It was too hard, I guess. I don't know.
Maddie. This is Maddie. Come here, Maddie. This is Maddie. This is Maddie. This is Maddie, the artist here. And she's going to be highlighting the self pieces. Lots to do. Okay. Nicolette, is actually printing out a great big, Nicolette is printing out a big giant poster on our enormous poster printer. This is how big we can make our prints, which is really exciting. Lots going on. This is our prop room here. This is where we make the magic of doing still lifes. We're right in the middle of a still life here. We're actually setting up for a new still life. This is our bookshelf with our wonderful books. And we actually, it's really nice. People donate a lot of different types of props. Somebody came and donated a whole bunch of street signs to us, lights, props. And what we do is we set up a still life for the whole class where kids are allowed to change the still life at will. How are we doing? Very good. You need to sign it and we'll start putting them up on the bulletin board. So we have exhibitions in the class, we have exhibitions around the school, and we have exhibitions in the superintendent's conference room. All righty.